Get started? Come on, let's get started. It's time?
Yep.
Okay, this is class 3. We have one more class. We have one more class. One more next week at this time. Okay. One more. Okay, let's take a few minutes right now and let's make sure we introduce people. So, we have someone to introduce?
Yes, this is my friend Kenny.
Hi everyone, Kenny. Hello. Oh, I understand.
Why are you here, Danny?
Well, I am on a quest for knowledge, and Danny's been helping me obtain this knowledge. I've become more aware consciously here recently, and I am now putting forth all this knowledge that I'm gaining to use, and I'm interested in seeing what type of information you may have for me and what type of knowledge I can put forth from you.
Well, this will be fun. Okay, anyone else here? Oh, please. Please. Would you mind standing?
Oh, Lenny. Lenny Fire.
Lenny.
Fire. And I'm just here because I heard from a friend that this is a pretty cool place, holistic, and I'm into all of that stuff for many years.
Okay.
I mean, tons of stuff.
Well, let's suppose you could look into the future. What would you do with it? Have you thought about that?
What would I do?
What would you do with it? If you could look into the future,
Or what?
how would you use it?
If you want to show year million, you get a pretty, if you know what I'm talking about?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's some pretty interesting things that are going on.
Okay.
But, you know, I look at how our knowledge is increasing, you know, astronomically.
Right.
And how there are all these different kinds of things. And I also learned about what some of the pharmaceutical companies are doing to us.
True. That's true.
And
And you're right.
But, you know, I'm just trying, I don't know if I'll live long enough to get to the time where you can live for 200 or 300 years and then eventually you wind up in living forever or something like that. Or
That's an interesting
becoming
question.
one week or whatever it is that you'll be supposed to do. So I'm just looking for ways to improve.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
To get better.
Thank you. Becky, do you have something you want to share with the class?
Oh, hi everybody, I'm Becky Smith, and I'm going to be at the Dallas Yoga Fest. I have a booth there Saturday. I wanted to invite all of you guys to come if you want to get on the lights. I have a sign-up sheet back there. It's a free event, but...
When you say the lights, you may want to explain that just a
Oh,
little bit.
LED light therapy for anybody who doesn't know what that is. Red, infrared, and blue.
You're actually putting pads on people's bodies.
Pads on people's bodies, where it might hurt, where you want to get energy, where you want relaxation, increase in circulation, and decrease of pain. So, to learn, yes.
Where is this going
At
on?
the Dallas Yoga Fest, and there's flyers back there on the back row next to Roger. It's at the Renaissance Hotel in Richardson. The actual festival is going from 7 to 7. So yogis can come in and really get into the early morning. They're having a closing ceremony at 7. The guy who runs it says you don't want to miss the closing ceremony. I think by the time I close my booth down at 5, I'm probably going to be too tired to go to the closing ceremony. But anyway, it should be interesting. There's a vendor fair, so that's what I'm a part of. This will be the first time I've been a part of this event, so I'm looking forward to it. So if you want to come get on the lights, I am charging. My coach tells me that I need to charge for my services, and that it'll be $20 a light session out there at the festival. So.
And it's worth it.
Yes.
It's worth it.
Is
Very
it
good.
Saturday, Nick?
This Saturday, the 17th.
Okay, anyone else having any comments about what you've gone through over the last week in using your scanning capability, your testing? Any comments, any observations, any questions before we move on? Anything at all?
Yes. Okay, so when it comes to me, I am much more difficult to work with. When it's other people, so my husband is leaving the other day in his old 76 truck, and he was going to get it washed because we're selling it, and I was leaving the house, and I said he's not going to be able to get in. I just somehow knew it. So I tucked a little key on the gate, and he called while I was leaving. He was like, "Oh my gosh, where are you?" I go, "I'm on our way down to LBJ." "Oh, I'm not going to be able to get in." I go, "I left you a key. I knew you would be able to get in." He goes, "How'd you know that?" I said, "I just listened, and I knew you wouldn't have a way to get in."
Very good. Very good. I like it. Very good. That should be normal for all of us, please.
So I walked up to Ruthie today, and Ruby starts apologizing because she didn't bring me something. I said, but I wasn't expecting it today. I knew it wasn't going to be here.
Very good. Very good. Like I said, yes.
I feel like I've been knowing which line to get in at the grocery store.
Very good.
Like one might look like it's less people, and I'll just feel like don't go in that one, and it seems to work. So instead of going no, I go with where I feel like I should go.
I'm curious. I may be getting ahead of myself, but since you brought this up, what's the question you're asking yourself when you're looking at the lines? Do you have a specific question?
I don't think I say any words even. It's just an automatic
So you just sense.
and I just feel even though it doesn't look like it should be the right one.
Okay.
Because prior to that, I would feel it and go, that's stupid. This one has less.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's very good. Yes.
So I've missed the last 2 classes, I apologize. But I've been working with your, trying to work with your
Sure.
techniques. And my mother recently has had a lot, and my mother's 80, right?
Would you mind standing so people can hear?
Of course.
Yes.
And I never trust myself. I never trust these things. So my mother has had a lot of bleeding lately, and that's obviously a sign of cancer, especially in a woman her age. So, you know, the whole family's really worried, and her blood count's really, really off. So she went to the gynecologist, and they did the initial test, and my sisters were all worried, and I just tried to visualize her uterus, sorry gentlemen, and I just felt white, like clear. So the first test came back today, and there's no sign of cancer.
Very good. Very good. Please.
Well, this morning I got ready, and of course I was needing to get gone, and then I couldn't find my keys. And I said, okay, Angels, I need to find my keys. And just like that, oh, they're probably in the door where you came in last night. I just went over to the door, and there they were, on the back.
And sometimes they do talk that way.
Oh, yeah.
More than once. Yes, Ruthie.
Well, I just wanted to say, as far as the new technique that you taught us with the balls, for me, I had a few days that were really, 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 really stressful. And that, for me, worked like a charm. I mean,
To
it was 1,
relax
2,
you.
3. And it just worked. I mean, I affectionately call it follow the bouncing ball. So it just, it works.
No.
It works.
Very good.
Can you just repeat the thing for like, in 30 seconds? 'Cause
We're
I'm
going to
starting
do
remember
that.
it.
We're
Okay.
going to, Sandra's going to take us through it. Just
I
follow.
second that. I've
To
used that technique when I needed to be grounded and get back in spirit, and it was almost instantaneous.
It's very fast.
Very
It works
fast.
very well. Very well. And we'll explain it in just a few minutes for those of you who don't know. Yeah. Anyone else? Anyone else? Any good? Yes.
I mean, I've actually been doing the usual meditation for 2 weeks, but I've been putting all my patients every day there, seeing them saying yes, and it's just been clockwork, which is not usually the case. And everybody's saying yes, everybody's being agreeable and working, and so therefore I've been, getting all my work done on time and getting home at a reasonable hour.
Very good. Very good.
Well, I don't know. So I had a client, that doesn't remind me, I had a client, I'm in the painting business, I had a client that texted me and said, when can we meet with you when we go over the painting? And we're almost finished. I'm thinking, oh boy, here it comes. And then I said, no, that's just me. And then he's going to laugh. I heard Gary's voice, you know what to do with them. You know what to do with them. So I do the meditation, put them on the platform, and do all the stuff. And this morning I came in, and they go, yeah, what about these cabinets? I said, well, we'll go over all this once you get done. Okay. Have a good day. Bye. Off they
It was
go.
that easy.
It was that easy.
Very good.
My crew couldn't figure out why I was walking around and smiling. The boss is smiling. He's happy. What's the matter?
Well, that's very good. Another group of words to describe looking into the future is spiritual prosperity. Right? And we said prosperity is health, wealth, relationships, and the time to enjoy it, all working at the same time. And we're relying upon God to achieve that fact. We're not doing it ourselves because we can't do it ourselves. I want to take a moment to digress for a minute here because it's very important that we look at what happens around us and compare it to our theory of whether or not our theory is working. I got to go back to the Virginia shootings. If you go back to the shooter and you look at this person, Remember we said in other classes, if we didn't say it here, that everyone is born one of two ways. We're either born as a brain person or as a heart person. We've chosen that when we come into this life because that's the way we needed to be in order to achieve our purpose and destiny. Some of us are brain people, meaning we think first before we feel. Others are heart people. We feel first before we think. I happen to be a heart person. The gentleman who did the shooting, he was a heart person when he was born. But in his progression forward, he began to use his brain. He began to use his brain to evaluate the situation around him. Now, what did we say about staying too long in the brain? Anger and frustration. When I heard about this situation, because I've examined every shooting that's occurred over the last 2 years, I wanted to see if there was an exception to our theory. There hasn't been. His neighbors described him as a short, angry man, very hostile man. Before I even said anything, I looked at him before his neighbors came on, said he was working from his brain, he was very angry, then his neighbors come on and they described him that way. Now we have to be very careful here because the man he shot, and this is where it gets very interesting, Scalia, I looked at him and he was working from his heart. What did we say about the heart if you spend too much time in your heart? Fear, doubt, uncertainty. He was afraid that something was going to happen to him. I watched him carefully, both on the news and when we were flashing different videos of him even before. He was always concerned about something happening to him. Now, he never said that, but that's the truth. So we have two objects coming together that were attracting each other, and I'm not excusing the shooter by any means, by what happened here. But this is what happens energetically. In quantum mechanics, we have opposites attracting. So our job is to be very careful how we're perceiving this world, because 5 years ago, I love this country. I want to see this country stay together. I want us to get along. 5 years ago, the potential for civil war and dividing this country was about this wide. Okay, today, it's down to about there.
Wow.
It's down to about there. Okay? Now, I don't care who would have won the election, the presidential election, Hillary or Trump, doesn't matter. It still is on the way. Now, we have a chance because by the end of this year, that's going to be cut in half unless something changes.
So am I getting this wrong? You're saying that the chances of civil war have been reduced.
I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry about this. I'm sorry. Thank you for asking that question. Now, we had this much of a chance. We were this close to having a civil war. We were this close.
5 years ago.
5 years ago. Now we're this close.
So the
Civil War's at the bottom.
Yes, civil war is at the bottom.
Okay.
We're this close. For this country to be ripped apart because we have the left and the right fighting with each other. We're this close to having a civil war. That close. Actually,
80% closer.
right there. When it reaches the bottom, we're in civil war. Because the right and left are going to attack each other. Doesn't matter what. Now, by the end of the summer, or actually by the end of the year, it'll be cut in half. Again, we're that much closer. Before Trump is finished with his 4 years, I can guarantee you, the way things are going now, it'll be another year or two before we are at war. Okay? Certainly before he's finished with the 4 years. Now, I don't want to see that happen for any number of good reasons. We don't need it. But the only way out is through God. Because right now, there is so much secular humanism in this country that we're ignoring God and we're relying upon our brain to figure things out. We've said what happens in the brain, anger and frustration, or we're feeling it with our emotions. We know what's going to happen there. Okay, that's fear, doubt, uncertainty. None of which are going to answer the questions. Now, we've got you studying this material. This material is very powerful. I've seen tornadoes turned away by using this technique. Okay? Now, it's unimaginable what we can do if we focus our energies using God as the center of our focus. Remember we said our goal is to take whatever we're thinking and whatever we're feeling and move it down to the spirit center about an inch below the navel and communicate with God. So that all of our thoughts, all of our actions are working in one plane and one plane only. And that's for the betterment of ourselves, our family, our friends in this universe. Okay, that's our goal. That's why we're here. Now, what we're going to be doing tonight, we're going to take advantage of this, and I'm going to have Sandra take us through the meditation again, this short meditation, Okay, so we can get going with this. But then I'll ask you, once we get the meditation finished, and now you're working from that spirit center, I want you to start calibrating yourself. Okay? So, we're going to go back to what we talked about last week. Okay? Some things here. We're going to make use of that calibration to test ourselves with more supplements. So, and from what we discussed last week, if we go to number 1 on our sheet, I've asked all of you to have a notebook. It's very important to have a notebook because you need to keep this information down step by step, day by day. And in the notebook, every time you do this work, you'd want the date and time, okay? Or you'd want the location of where you are. You may be in a restaurant, you may be at home. I don't care where you are. Calibration. Remember we talked about calibration last week. We can calibrate ourselves by using our true name and see which way we lean. Do we go forward or backwards with our true name? And then we use some type of false name. We use some false name we don't like and say, I am that name, keep saying that to ourselves and see if we go in the opposite direction. That's our calibration. So we want to calibrate ourselves at the beginning of every test that we do. Okay? And you'll see what I mean when we go through this. Okay? And so you'll see this. Okay? So we want to calibrate ourselves, that's very important. And at the end of all of your testing, you want to recalibrate yourself and make sure that somehow during this testing, you didn't change. Because if you're testing 4 or 5 items and you're going through this, there's a possibility you could shift. It has happened. Okay, so you want to test before and at the end of your testing sessions. Okay?
What is it that we're calibrating?
We're calibrating ourselves. We're calibrating ourselves. You'll see it in a few minutes, okay? You'll be working with some people and they can show you. Okay? But basically what we're doing is this. In terms of the calibration, we're relying upon the God that's inside of every one of us to help us. So we are imagining ourselves to be in our spirit. We've gone through this simple technique that we're going to go through in a few minutes. We've moved brain and heart down into the spirit area. So I'm relaxed and focused. Every part of my being is from this area about an inch below my navel. Then I imagine that the power of God is going through me. It's going directly through my skull, going directly through my body, going through my feet, and circulating around in a cyclical manner consistently. Now I like to say to myself, thank you God, thank you God, thank you God, because it's a great gift He's given us. It's an amazing gift He's given us, and we can relax, because as long as He's taking over, we have nothing to be concerned about. Nothing. The issue that we'll run into as we're doing this work is that this or this is going to try to get in the way. Our brain's going to say we can't do it. Our heart's going to say I'm afraid because I could be wrong, or any number of other things. But if you do this enough times, and that's where the practicing comes in, you become very neutral with this. Even if your own life is dependent upon this information, you become neutral. Okay? So we're going to allow this to occur, and then we'll calibrate ourselves once we're in this state of deep meditation. And then we can say that my name is, for example, Gary A. Berman. I can say, this is my name, this is my name, this is my name, and for me, I would go forward when I do this, indicating that that's correct. For me, that would be correct. Some people may go backwards for correctness. I happen to move forward. Okay? I could say that I'm Donald Duck. I'm Donald Duck, I'm Donald Duck, and immediately I'm being pushed back. Immediately, I'm not even trying to do it. I'm being pushed back because the power of God as it's going through me is either going to be attracted to whatever I'm saying or repulsed by whatever I'm saying. Does that make sense? Okay.
I was like, oh,
Okay.
as soon as you answered that.
Right?
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. Because I can feel it over on this side, and the power of God is always correct. As long as this or this doesn't get in the way, we're going to get the correct answers. Okay? So once we calibrate ourselves, then we can go further with this, and then we have the issue that we're going to scan. Well, in this case, we're going to be scanning supplements just to get us in the ballparks. It could be anything. It could be a question you could have or anything else. But then you might have comments also. Comments could be, I'm feeling strong, I'm feeling confident. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm feeling weak and indecisive. You want to put these down. Maybe it's a beautiful day outside. The weather can affect you. Maybe it's getting dark. I don't care what it is, but I want you to reproduce your environment around you as accurately as you can each time, because sooner or later, you're going to hit on the right combination of items so you're accurate. And then you can go back and reproduce it. Or if you have questions later about something, you can go back and look at it and go, wait a minute, I made a mistake here. I can understand it now. Do you understand my point? And of course, the final part are the answers. What are the answers? Without that, we don't get anywhere, right? So what I'm going to ask you to do is, once Sandra takes us through the 3-step meditation, okay, then we'll start calibrating ourselves with our names, okay? Then we can come up and begin using the products, okay, that we have. But then I'm going to ask you to go to numbers and envelopes, okay? But with the product, you'll get a sense of feeling that some of them work, some of them don't. But you're really not sure 100% if that's really true. So we've got to put it on the line. We're going to test it and make sure that you can begin doing this. So you're going to be working in pairs at some point in a little bit. You'll be working in pairs, and you can pick out the pairs right now, people you want to work with. But one of you is going to put down, say, 2 numbers. And you'll both agree on the 2 numbers. They could be 1 and 2, 2 and 3. I don't care what the numbers are. They're up to you, both of you. But you're going to put one of the 2 numbers in the envelope. You're going to give it to your partner. Your partner is going to tell you what number is in the envelope. They're going to do it by leaning, or any other method they want to use. Okay? Do you understand my point? We have to be able to start testing to see, am I really accurate? Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I've done this for 30 years. I've done this tens and tens and tens of thousands of times. Okay? I still can get excited about things, and I still have to calibrate myself, even after all these years. It will take time, but I'm giving you a lot of information for you to get through this quickly, so you don't have to spend as much time as I did to do this. So what I'm asking you to do is enjoy it. If this gets in the way, or this gets in the way, and you begin telling yourself, I can't do it, you begin judging yourself, guess what? You're right. You won't do it. You're right. Now, I'm only asking you to do this way so that you can get an idea of what might begin to work, what might not work. That's all I'm asking you to do right now. If you get a few right, fantastic. But until you work on this every day, it's going to be still speculative. Now next week, we're going to go a step further. Next week, I'm going to ask all of you to bring in 4 sports games. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it's about. It could be golf, hockey, I don't care what it is. I don't care. But you might want to pick where we have teams of just 2 different groups, like baseball or something like this. So you have 4 different games. I don't care if you know about the people, if you don't know about the people. It's better if you don't. It's better if you don't. So we're going to do the same thing next week that we're doing here with these envelopes, but you're going to pick the winners of the games next week. So you'd be looking for games, since we're meeting next Thursday, you'd be looking for games that are either Friday or Saturday. Okay? And then with your partner, you'll call them and find out from them, how did you do? How did you do? Okay? Again, do I advocate gambling? No, I don't. Not at all. In fact, I would discourage that completely. I know where that's going to get you. There's no doubt in my mind where that's going to get you. And I'll say this for the people who haven't been here. Going into any form of gambling, and if you can show that you've got this ability, put your life at risk and the lives of your family at risk. Okay, that's a guarantee. So I would never advocate that, but I meant we need information. So I would use it just for information, because once you get confidence that you can do this and do it consistently, the world's open to you to do anything you want. Anything. In any field. You can decide to use it in any way to benefit yourself, your family, and your life according to your purpose and destiny. And when you're working from your spirit, even if you don't know what your purpose and destiny is, and you're working with God, that's how you're going to find out your purpose and destiny. You won't find it from here, and you won't find it from the heart either. You will only find it by working from your spirit area. That's it. So I'm being clear about this, at least for right now. Okay? Good. All right, so let's get started. Sandra, would you mind taking over? Okay.
All right, so what I'm going to do is just the short 3-step, the 3 balls. And if you haven't done it before, I will add some commentary that may help you. So let's all start with being comfortable, using our breath, breathing in, breathing out. If you're aware of any negativity, we call it clear your space. Make sure that that energy is Show them the door, so to speak. It's not welcome. We're residing in positivity and in light as we do these activities, as we do these meditations. Putting yourself in that safe space. And now, I want you to think of an issue, a desire, whatever. And we're going to do this very quickly. This is not the long meditation. You're going to think of this. And in my case, I visualize those 3 balls with my imagination as being real. And we know that God's energy is coming through our head, going through our feet, making that cycle. And we're breathing with the energy of God. Using your imagination to see this in the power that you already have. You are seeing all 3 balls line up. Trust me, you can visualize this, you will know. Are my brain and my heart lining up with my spirit? The answers are in the alignment. When these 3 are aligned, your true answer is there for you. Keep breathing. Keep seeing these 3 balls. You have the power, if one is out of alignment, to put it in alignment. Use your breath, use your God energy. Receive your answer. And as we always do, we start in gratitude and we finish in gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are so grateful for the power we've been given with the energy of God acting in our lives.
Very good. Can you sense the difference in the energy of the room now as compared to when we started? The energy was very high when we started, very chaotic when we started. Now it's down here, it's much more dense, it's much more relaxing. Can you sense that now? Yeah, very good. Very good. Okay. That's what we need to do. The moment you begin to experience any doubt, any uncertainty, you feel the flutters in your gut or something like this when you're picking up a product, if you have to in your mind, see those 3 balls going back down. Feel it in this center area, about an inch below the navel, if all 3 of them are there. Sense that these areas, the brain and heart, are going deeper and deeper into your spirit center. And as they go deeper, you will naturally start relaxing even further. I like to say then, as I said, thank you God, or trust God, trust God. But something that helps me understand, I'm not doing this. This is not about me, it's not about you. It's there. It's waiting for us to communicate with it. It helps me relax. But try it, see what you think. Okay? So, however we get started, we'll take about 10 minutes of working with, say, these products, 5 or 10 minutes, and as soon as you can, then we can start using the numbers and these envelopes and see what we get. Okay? Make sense? Okay. so let's get started.
Make sure some regulars are with the new.
Yes, yes. For those of you who are new here, please work with the ones that have been here before. If you have questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Would you also please make sure that the products are put back where you got them? Excellent. Here we go. Tell them what you just told me.
I was testing, and part of the time I was saying, do I need this now? Or do I need this today? And I got a different answer with the same products for now and today. And I didn't realize until about 3/4 of the way through that I was shifting back and forth between that question. So you have to be really, really specific with your question. Otherwise, you're not really asking what you think you're asking.
Or getting the answer you may be thinking you're getting. That's why on your sheet, I gave you two examples. One version is a very general statement, a question, like A1, B1. And the other, A2, B2, is a more accurate version of what you would want to think about. Okay? In the more accurate version, there was a lady here last week who asked about a car. And she was thinking about buying a vehicle. I wanted to use it as an example, but it can be useful for anything. We want to make sure that whatever we're looking at, we are putting down what we want as specifically as we can. I'm not talking about pages of information. I'm simply saying that we make specific comments. Okay. For example, what you were saying, is it now or are we talking about today? And if we're testing that, we must keep in mind, am I talking about now or am I talking about today? We don't want to get them confused in the testing. Okay. There are a number of things that are important in doing this work that you can only learn by doing. Okay. That's why your question was so important. Okay. Am I making my point? Yeah.
I actually was asking both questions for the same product, and out of 3 of them, 2 of them had the same answer, but one of them gave 2 different answers depending on how I asked the question.
Okay. So in a case like that, any ideas what you might do to find the truth?
I'm not sure, but I would definitely go with the second question in this case.
Okay. And you could be right, you can have no problem with that. You might just say, if two products, for example, are giving you similar results, you would say, of these 2 products, show me the one that is absolutely the most important one for me to have at this time, or however you want to phrase it.
No, what I was saying is I was getting a yes and no for the same product with a different
Oh, I see what you're. Well, then we got an interesting dilemma. Okay, very good.
I still when I ask a question one way, I get a yes, and I switch it.
Yeah, right. That's why looking at and getting answers about team sports or something that's going to happen and looking at the results is so important, because then immediately we can test to see what's the answer. If we gain the right answer, we probably have a good statement. And if it's consistent, we certainly have a good statement. But if it's not, then you need to start looking to see what's wrong. Yeah.
Well, like last week, we had the situation where I tested a product, and there was an ingredient within that particular product that I didn't need, but the product itself, like I don't know if it was bee pollen or whatever it was something I needed, but there was something in there that was not appropriate. So it could have been a filler, you know, some ingredient that didn't quite match. So that will help us then define which particular brand might be better for that product for us.
But you get an idea, it takes time to get this down, but it's worth it. Good job. Okay. How about if we take a few minutes and let's try the envelopes, okay, with the parts.
That's my question.
Round it up. Let's get back to our seats. Let's get back to our seats. Let's get back.
comments, any questions? I saw some exceptional work here. Some of you did incredibly well, but every one of you can do incredibly well. The only thing I've seen here, guys, just a moment, the only thing I've seen that's been an issue is that we're forgetting to stay here, and for whatever reason, we're moving up. It's creeping up. Okay, it's creeping up, and the moment it starts creeping up, guess what happens? You're wasting your time. Your answers will be wrong. Okay. So you understand why it's so important to test, to practice. Calibrate and test. So I would ask you, next week, bring in 4 sports games. Okay? I mean 2 teams. Okay? I don't care if you know them, don't know them.
Just the teams.
The game, we want the time, okay, where they're playing, okay, but just bring in the game, whatever the games are. We want 4 games.
You know what you said back to baseball, you need to look up the schedule.
Yeah, look at the schedule. Sure.
We're not viewing those games.
Well, whoever is going to be looking at their 4 games, you will know what you're doing. But you're going to be exchanging that with someone else. So you won't know. Now, it's going to be very important that everyone who looks at their 4 games, who has their 4 games that they're bringing in, that you know which one is Team 1 and which one is Team 2. It's very important that you know which one is Team 1. So if I have 4, let's suppose I've got 4 games, okay? And I say game 1, I know who Team 1 is and Team 2. Okay.
And do you assign that?
I know it, but I'm going to give it to you, okay? And you're going to take it home, or maybe do it here, and you're going to say, you might do something like this. We have 2 cards tonight, okay? So we might put card 1 is Team 1 over Team 2, meaning Team 1 beats Team 2, okay? Second card would be Team 2 over Team 1, meaning Team 2 beats Team 1. So you're going to have 2 cards for each game. And you're going to decide who wins.
Can it be pro fights or like
Anything you want. Anything you want. Make it interesting. This will be Friday. We're going to be meeting next Thursday, so we want games that are going to end next Friday or Saturday. So we get quick feedback.
And we can check our results.
Oh, you're darn right you will, because you're going to be exchanging with someone. You'll have that person's phone number or email, we're going to exchange information.
So I'm not doing my own teams, I'm not picking out my own team.
No, you're just picking out 4 games. You decide who the games are. I don't care what they are. But each game you decide who's Team 1. Write it down. Hey guys, look, I want to write it down. For each game, you want to decide who is Team 1 and who is Team 2. So you write it down each time so that you know when you get your answers back from your partner, you can tell them you're right or wrong.
Are you guessing the other partner's teams?
Yeah, you're going to swap. We're going to swap.
You're going to be working with another person. Okay, it could be the same one you worked with tonight. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But whoever, if I hand Cecile like 4 teams, I'm going to know, I'm handling her, each one of those games, who is Team 1 and who is Team 2. I'm going to write it down. She won't. You decide that.
She won't.
No. She's not going to know. Okay? She doesn't have to know.
But that's what the card is gonna say inside.
A card will say something like this. Team 1 over Team 2, or Team 2 over Team 1, or maybe you've got another idea, whatever you want to say. You may have something clever you could use.
Well, do we assign a name to the team? Instead of putting Team 1, we put Dallas or Houston?
No. It's too much.
You have to know who Team 1 is.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
How do you know who Team 1 is? Let's say it's a game between Houston and Dallas. How do you know who Team 1 is?
Our spirits know everything.
Would you
Our
assign
spirits know
Team
everything.
1 and Team 2?
Our spirits know what the answers are.
I'd have to know that Dallas is Team 1.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
No. Well, you assign the name for Team 1 and Team 2
Yes.
as you put them on the card with you. And then when the other person tells you whether it's 1 or 2, you know which one is right.
Okay, so if it's Dallas and Houston, I know that Dallas is 1, let's say.
Right, but
Somebody else.
but what, if you know it, fine, that's good. Right, but they don't know. All they know is Steve 1 or 2. That's all they know. I don't need to know anything. I don't need to know anything. Look, hey, stop. I want you to understand something. You're thinking from the brain and heart. You're putting limitations on yourself and the environment, because working from the brain and heart means I have to understand the laws of physics. And physics has finite information. The spirit has no limitations for space and time. You don't need to know all this information. You don't want to know all this information. All you need to know is that you've got 2 teams. That's it. Team 1, Team 2. Someone knows who Team 1 is. Someone knows who Team 2 is. That's all you need to know. Your spirit will tell you which of those envelopes is correct.
Okay.
Am I getting through past here to the truth? The truth is, we can do incredible things. You're seeing that tonight. Okay? But I want to push you.
Okay, so your question might be, which envelope
Yeah.
is correct?
Yeah, which envelope
Has
is
the
good?
winner?
Has the winner.
Okay.
Okay? Now, however you decide who that is, that's up to you, but this is just an example of it. Okay?
And then you can go back and see it on.
Next week we're going to test it, but we're going to look for games that end on Friday or Saturday.
So for next week, all we have to do is bring the teams
Yeah,
and who's playing.
that's it. That's all you have to do. And we're going to exchange it.
But they end this Friday or Saturday. So they,
No,
or
after.
after. They will be played after.
We'll be played after.
On the
They'll be played after.
23rd or the 24th?
I think they got it.
Your partner's going to say, this envelope is or whatever that is, and you look at it, you look at the game, the next day or Saturday, and you look at it and tell them, so they make the right choice. And they'll do the same for you. Now, you understand where this is going. Now, think about this. Hey,
Shut up,
just
guys.
a moment. Right? Just a moment. Look, there's a tornado coming your way. Because this happened 2 Christmases ago. Okay, I was at my girlfriend's house. The tornado's coming. She and I got together, and we're projecting in our mind that we're going to turn that tornado. We did it. Okay? We didn't do it. God did it. But we were allowing it to work. Now think about what you can do. Think about what you can do for this country. This is small potatoes, what we're doing here. I'm concerned about this country. I'm concerned that we're going to have a situation where it's going to tear us apart. We don't need this. But if you can prove to yourself that you can do incredible things, which we were born to do, and you can do it naturally, which I saw you do tonight, then when you project your energy into this country, and when you start encouraging everyone to get along, what do you think can happen? Right. What do you think can happen for your life if you can project your energy into your life, and you can see your life being much easier, much more efficient, and all the elements of prosperity you're giving permission to occur? What do you think can happen? If it's going to happen. Okay? We're putting meat to this. People talk about this all the time, but no one's telling you how to do it. You're going to be the vanguard of showing people how to do this. Yes?
I want to give you a practical example.
Roger, would you mind standing, please?
I've been out in the woods before. I'm out in the woods all the time. And one day I got surrounded by a bunch of black flies. And anybody who's been around black flies, they're pretty biters, you know. And so I got a little irritated. So I asked for my higher self to put a bubble of white light around me to keep these white flies off. Or black flies, I'm sorry. And it didn't work. And I said, well, universe, adjust the frequency of the bubble to repel anybody that's not invited. So then the black flies are just going like this close. And I said, no. Expand the bubble. And when these flies are going around you, you can actually see what's going on. There's no doubt you see them go away.
Right.
And I was like, wow, what did I just do?
Thank you. Thank you, Roger.
But that's visual.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
This thing really does work. We're doing something very similar to this with the silver method. And this guy, he's did that same kind of focus. He had a house at the beach in North Carolina, and there was a hurricane that came in, and all the houses in the row were destroyed, except for his. It was untouched.
That's very possible. Very possible. It's worked on patients in Louisiana. Okay.
He said, I want to preserve mine. The terminology was slightly different than what he was doing, but same concept. Exactly.
That's possible. So I have a patient in Louisiana. She called, this was several months ago when they were getting all the rain, and the levees were very close to busting. And she was concerned because there was a huge series of thunderstorms coming in over the next 2 or 3 days. So she calls, and we get on the phone, we start talking about this, we start working through this, started asking her to do this, we worked on her, I did it too. All the thunderstorms moved away. They all moved away, not one drop of rain hit her tent. Okay. Look, we can do incredible things because we're not doing it. This is doing it, we're working with God. But we're getting this out of the way, the brain, and this out of the way, the heart, so that we can open ourselves up to what we're supposed to be doing. We have a chance. We're doing a lot more than just making ourselves better. Okay.
So are we like the conduit?
Yes, in every way.
We are the conduit.
Every one of us is the conduit. Okay? Every one of us, we're all connected. How do you think you and Cecile were able to know each other's answers just by walking past each other? We're all connected. We know the answers, but this gets in the way. Okay? So I'd rather make it very simple, okay? Very simple method, and to let everyone know that they can do it and give this away because I want people to be able to help themselves. Okay? I don't want them to rely upon anyone else other than themselves and God. That's it. That's the point. We got to get out of this and get out of here. Okay? Am I being clear about this? Good.
So when we're working with spirit, we become the cause
Right.
of the effect. It's cause and effect.
Yeah, we have nothing to worry about. But that takes practice.
Gary, there's one other factor that I have found in all of this. I had some tornadoes in my neighborhood a year or so ago, and I asked the angels to protect my house. Didn't work very well. I got a lot of hail damage and hit tornadoes around, and I said, there's something wrong with this statement. So the next time I said, angels, protect my neighborhood. No problem.
Right.
So I was thinking of the others and giving gratitude for the neighborhood. When I was so focused on myself, that, no.
Right. Well, in every case, what we're doing is we're allowing God to do the job. We're asking for maybe specific things, but we're opening ourselves up to get the truth as to what he wants. Okay? I think that's enough right now. Sandra, would you mind finishing this? Okay. And either if you give us a quick prayer when Sandra's done.
Okay, for those of you who are new, I'm going to talk about a Q statement in this meditation, and it's a quality of life statement. And I'm sure I could help you with it, or Gary can help you, but
We'll get to that.
that's what I'm referring to, yes. All right. Let's get comfortable and breathe. Breathing in and breathing out. Imagine yourself standing on a platform in the center of a large surrounding sphere. You expand this sphere and make it so large that you are relaxing as you do it. You're still in the center of the sphere, and within your body are the hands of God, the hands of your source, the deity that you choose, Jesus, the Buddha. And this deity is holding all the poison made up of the weeds and roots of your resistance to the quality of life that's part of your destiny. See this happening. God's hands, the deity's hands, now retract from you, holding all of these limitations, all of these resistances. You're imagining and giving permission for God, your source, to move far enough away, still holding the poison, that you are physically separated and you can relax again. Physical separation is so large and so far away from you. Because we've purified our internal and external space, now you're going to spray yourself with your Q liquid, that quality of life statement. Imagine a huge fire hose. And as you're standing on this platform having this experience, you're also seeing large buckets, 4 large buckets surrounding you. You're being filled with your statement. The buckets are being filled with the statements. The buckets of health, the bucket of wealth, the bucket of loving relationships, and the bucket of time. They're so full, they're filled, they're overflowing. As you spray this liquid into the buckets and into yourself, you see all those spaces where the weeds and the roots of your limitations have been. They're being filled with the white light of God. They're totally being filled. Keep filling yourself. Keep using that hose to fill yourself. And you are so full of light that you're illuminated. Keep spraying yourself with this quality, this God quality. And see yourself smile. And see yourself nod your head. And watch yourself open and close your mouth, saying yes to you. See this happening in your imagination. Finish by telling yourself that you are doing these items from your Q statement to manifest your purpose and destiny. Finishing this meditation, you know that you are free to manifest what it is you want from your state, your quality of life. You have freedom to manifest this. And as always, we close with thank you, thank you, thank you Source, thank you Creator, thank you God,
Thank you.